All right. Today we're gonna speak about externalities, and later on, I guess on another video we'll do how externalities lead to market failure. But for now, we're just gonna identify what is externalities, the difference between the positive and negative externalities. We're also going to touch on social benefits, social cost, and social efficiency through net benefits. All right, so what exactly is externalities? Or how do we derive the externalities? Externalities occur when there are third parties, right? Third party involved. So these are people that they're not a part of the buying or the production or the consumption of this particular good or service that is at hand. So you find out that not only that the producer or the consumer is affected by certain goods, but you find that there are others that actually get affected by these particular goods or services. All right, so that's basically what externalities, the spillovers that the third party, right, not the direct consumer, the direct producer, has to bear. So think about, as I said, third parties, and they come on to externality. All right, third party. All right, so what kind of effect or cost or benefit do they get from a particular good or service that is produced within their reach? All right, so we're going to touch on positive externalities. And positive externality basically has to do with the benefits, right, that this third party gets. So the benefits are the spillover benefits. So the spillover benefits that the third party gains. All right, so it has to do with the spillover benefits that this third party actually gains. So give you an example. So for instance, your neighbor, right, decided to buy a light, an external light for their house. So they get this big light to put on the outside. You would also, if you have light shining on your house or within your pathway, right, whether to walk to the side of your house or the back of the house or whatever the case may be, you would have had positive externality from this because you have benefited. You didn't buy or you didn't produce this good, but yet still you had light to walk to your backyard or wherever the case may be, the side of the house, whatever. Think about a camera as well. If your neighbor buys a camera, right, and it points in the direction of your house, it's protecting their house for theft, right? But say for instance somebody robbed your house and it's picked up on this particular camera, then you find that you get what? A positive externality. You benefit somehow, right? From the spillover. So you benefit from this particular action or this purchase of your from your neighbor. So basically, as I said, the third party, which is you in this case, will benefit, right? Even though you're not a producer or a consumer of the particular good or service at hand. All right, let's talk about the negative externalities now. So negative externality has to do with the third party as well. And this has to do with you at a disadvantage, right? So some sort of costs you have to pay. So this has to do with spill over, and there's a spillover costs that you face. So spillover costs. All right. So spillover costs that you face. So think about, for example, you live near a factory, particular factory, and they burn coal or whatever the case is, and they give off smoke and that kind of thing, right? Even though you're not a consumer, you don't even use coal. You have a stove at your house or whatever the case may be, right? And there's a coal factory, they burn coal and it give off smoke that actually toxic to your body, right? So you have to pay that cost basically. So you have to live with that particular smoke and danger to your health on a daily basis, even though you don't have anything to do with the production or the consumption of coal, right? So you have a negative impact. Think about also, say for instance, alcohol. They sell alcohol, right? So you have the buying and selling of alcohol. Even though you may not consume alcohol, right? The person buying the alcohol, right? Say for instance, they're driving home drunk one day and then meet in an accident with you. Even though you don't drink alcohol, right? You had nothing to do with it, alcohol. But you have to bear some sort of cost, right? You have to fix a car or whatever the case may be. But you don't have any direct contact with buying alcohol. But you're the third party involved, right, in the accident. So the spillover cost. All right. So the next thing we will touch on is social benefit. Social benefit. All right. So social benefits, it's basically the total benefits. All right. So the total benefit, when you take into consideration the private benefit and the external benefit. All right. So private benefit has to do with the benefit from a consumer perspective, right? So whatever, so let me put that in perspective here. So, which is the private benefit, plus, so it's private benefit plus external benefit. All right, external benefit. All right. So social benefit, as I said, is equal to basically the private benefit plus the external benefit. The private benefit in this case is talking about the direct benefit that a consumer get from purchasing a particular good, right? So your neighbor purchasing the light, right? Your neighbor is getting reaping a private benefit because they purchase a light to get some sort of light, or they purchase a camera to protect their house. So they're getting a primary benefit, right? While you as a third party now, right, get external benefit. So it's private plus external benefits. All right, and that equals to the social benefit. So a private benefit has to do with what you're willing to pay. So you take into consideration what? A demand curve, right? So clean this off here. So give you a diagram on this. All right. So bear up my lines. So think about demand, right? So for private, so demand curve always sloping down. All right. So this is D, which is also equal to what? What curve? The private, right? Private marginal. So private marginal benefit. All right. The reason why it's marginal because it's the extra, right? The additional benefit that you gain, right? So our demand curve will be represented with that, and then this would be our social marginal benefit, our social benefit, right? And reason being, you'll see goes to the right, it increases because it's what? Private marginal benefit plus what? External marginal benefit. All right, so this is your EMB in there. All right, so that's basically, and over here is represented a dollar sign, and here says a consumer. So that's what our social benefit diagram would look like. So as I said, the demand curve is also equivalent to the private marginal benefit. So social benefit is basically from a consumer's perspective, which is represented with a demand curve, right? Which is your PMB, which is your private marginal benefit, so additional benefit, right? Plus you also your what? external benefit, right? So your external marginal benefit. We use marginal because for the additional benefit that is gained or obtained. All right, so that's what that would look like. On the other hand now, so that has to do with social marginal benefit. On the other hand, all right, on the other hand, we have our social costs, right? So social cost has to do with what? Private costs. So that's equal to private costs. And then plus external costs. All right. So in this case now, social cost has to do with the production aspect of things now. So you're thinking from a producer's perspective, which would be presented with a supply curve instead, right? So now our curve looks like this, right? SMC, right? So our social marginal cost curve. All right, so when we come on to social costs, we're thinking about private costs plus external costs. So private costs has to do with what the producer has to pay, right? The direct costs from the producer's perspective. The external cost now has to do with what the third party has to bear, right? So remember, the smoke comes off from the coal factory, whatever the case is. So that external cost, additional costs that has to be paid from the third party perspective. All right, so that would see us go in that direction, and this would be, actually, my bad. So this is supposed to be your private marginal costs, and then this now becomes our social marginal costs, which has our external marginal costs, and then what this is represented is what the SMC equals. The SMC equals to PMC plus EMC. All right. And again, over here, so the quantity, and then the amount in dollars. All right. So that's how our social costs curve would look like. Social costs. So remember, social costs has to do with the private costs plus external costs. Here we have PMC, which is a private marginal cost because it's additional costs, and then the social marginal cost, which is the additional cost that is bared. All right, let's put these two diagrams together now. So the social and social cost and social benefit in order to get the social efficiency. So the social efficiency diagram would look something like this. We have our demand curve, which is our what? Demand is what? Social marginal benefit curve, and then our supply curve, which is our social marginal cost curve. All right. So equilibrium is here. All right. So what this basically entails is that everything within this region is what? Our net benefit. Okay. Net benefits. And this is quantity. This is our dollar sign over there. All right, so that's basically what our social efficiency level of output would be right here. So this is where our marginal costs meet our social marginal costs meet our social marginal benefits. So our equilibrium is, we operate within this to get a net benefit. All right.